We're checking in with high school sports, gymnastics, and baseball. We'll talk big-time basketball coverage, and Dorothy Hamill joins us for a very special interview. All that and much more. Keep watching. Your local sports news starts now. Welcome back to the Sports News. I'm Jessa Jeremiah, and here are your local headlines. The WIAA announces some major rule changes for girls gymnastics that will affect high school teams throughout the state. The National Federation of State High School Association Girls Gymnastics Rules Committee at its recent meeting focused specifically on adding clarity to the rules for the sport with ever-changing trends. Among the new rules that will take effect for the 2016-2017 season are the ones that will refine scoring and identify how high school gymnasts can incorporate new elements into their routines. The recommended rule changes were subsequently approved by the Board of Directors. Lots of rule changes there. For a full listing of those changes, please visit nfhs.org. High school basketball fans, take note as the 2016 Girls State Basketball Championship details have been announced. The championships and semifinals will take place March 10th, 11th, and 12th at the Resch Center in Green Bay. On Thursday the 10th will be Division 3 and 4 semifinals. Friday the 11th will be Divisions 5, 2, and 1, and Divisions 1 through 5 will enter the championship on Saturday, March 12th. The state championships will take place after regionals in February and sectionals March 3rd and 5th. In other basketball state tournament news, tickets for the boys state tournament are now on sale. The boys state basketball championships will take place in Madison, March 17th, 18th, and 19th at the Kohl Center. The tournament follows the regionals in early March and sectionals March 10th and 12th. Expect to see Divisions 3 and semifinals on opening day with Divisions 5, 2, and 1 on the 17th. The tournament wraps on Saturday, March 19th with all 5 division championship games. For ticket information on that one, visit wiaawi.org. Your latest football recruiting news continues to pour in as students throughout the state make their decisions. Kimberly Junior offensive lineman Logan Bruss received his first scholarship offer from Buffalo recently, along with Arrowhead senior kicker John Mack receiving a preferred walk-on offer from Bowling Green and Minnesota. Marquette running back Gerard Swan received 2 other offers, this time from Minnesota State and North Dakota State. North Dakota adding a commitment to their lineup with Stevens Point senior Victor Kazuski's recent announcement. Kazuski was a WFCA Honorable Mention All-Purpose Player and a VFA South Offensive Player of the Year. If you'd like additional information on these headlines, please reference the media sources you see listed on your screen. Also, you can like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. Thanks for watching the Sports News, brought to you in part by the Red Zone Sports Bar in downtown Madison. For sports, music, and the best pub grub in town, visit the Red Zone. After the break, we are going to a very special boxing report. We're checking in with Evansville baseball after that. It's all next on the Sports News. Welcome back to the Sports News. I'm Jessa Jeremiah, and we turn our attention first to boxing with Ford's Gym. We've got a very special report for you. Here to give us the latest news, as usual, is familiar face, promoter, and boxer James McIntyre. And I'm so glad to see you, James. How are you?
I'm doing great. And before we get started, I just want to dedicate this interview to my friend Benjamin Kirchhoff. Things gonna get better, man.
Sounds good. Well, hey, you've got quite the guest sitting next to you here. What an exciting show we have for you. We've got 1996 Olympian Eric Morrell, who actually won his first title at the Alliant Energy Center, where the Snow Day boxing event is. Remind me, Saturday, February 6th, is that right?
Oh yeah, correct.
So, Eric, what do you remember about the night you won the title? Let's kind of dive right in.
I mean, it was, the only thing I was thinking about was just winning, win. There was no thoughts about losing. Especially, you know, I was just thinking about not letting the fans in Madison that came to support me that day let them down. There was just no way.
So smart. I mean, you keep that positive head about you, that positive energy, and just think about the end result and move forward. I think that's great. And you actually trained Eric alongside all of these guys at Ford's Gym. So talk to us a little bit about how it feels kind of seeing them get the opportunity to fight at the Alliant Energy Center where you made history not too long ago.
Well, it'll be a great event, and them guys, they're just gonna be ready to just put everything on the line, and it's gonna be such an amazing night for boxing. Especially, you know, I was there, and that's exactly what opened doors for me.
And Eric, Ricardo Rodriguez, who was the main event for this show, actually worked as your lead sparring partner for a number of years. Now he's making his own name. How excited are you to watch him do this?
I'm very excited. He's a very talented fighter. He got a lot to give the boxing fans, and he's just a great guy that I'm very proud to have the opportunity to work with him.
Oh, absolutely. James, let's switch to you for a second. We just got a little bit of time left, but does it feel different not having Eric in the gym with you guys now?
I mean, this guy's a world champion. He's a legend. He's a classic here in Madison. So, of course, we miss him being there. But in our minds, he never left. You know, we got the pictures of him up. Everybody always talks about him. We think about him. And so to us, he's still there. And he's with me here today. So he's still in our midst no matter what. So it's great to have somebody to look up to like this around us.
Oh, you got it. Well, what a treat. Thanks so much, guys. This is Eric Morrell and James McIntyre with Ford's Gym. We look forward to the upcoming event, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for letting us be here.
Thank you.
We are turning our attention now to baseball. With us from Evansville Baseball Academy is Matt Martinson, owner and operator. Matt, so nice to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And you've got Dominic Martinson that's also joining us today. How are you, Dominic?
Good.
Glad to see you both. So let's just start. Give us kind of the basics about what Evansville Baseball Academy, and there's an arcade there as well. Is there not? Talk to us about what this is.
Yeah, it's a great place for soft toss, tee work, and fundamentals of hitting while having family entertainment.
And talk to us a little bit, what makes this different? What makes Evansville Baseball Academy sort of different from other indoor batting cages in the area?
Oh, it provides an indoor area for youth baseball coaches, players, groups, to practice their hitting and drills. And also provides entertainments for the parents and siblings that are not wanting to watch the hitting drills.
Yeah, and talk to us about there's instructions or sort of lessons provided at the Baseball Academy, is that correct?
Yeah, Coach Maves is a native of Evansville, and he has coached baseball at many different levels. He has set times that he'll set up with youth players and parents in order to give them group or individual instruction.
And what are the age groups? So tell us kind of the range of age groups that are utilizing the facility.
10 to 12-year-old Blue Sox traveling teams. We also have the home talent team. The Evansville Jays come in and they use the batting cage and take cuts and play games, pool, and yeah.
Lots of fun, lots of great groups there, great ages. And tell us, for folks who are out there and interested in coming and being a part of Evansville Baseball Academy, what kind of hours are you holding, and talk a little bit about the cost portion too.
Well, we open up at 3:30, typically after school hours. We're open till about 9 o'clock at night. Extended hours on the weekend, and costs for like a membership, it's $25 per month for an individual for the batting cage. And we have also a $45 family membership we offer.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a great way for folks to get together, get some great lessons at a very reasonable rate. And it's nice to be able to stay active indoors in the tough weather here in Wisconsin. So we appreciate it. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks, Matt Martinson and Dominic, for joining us from Evansville Baseball Academy. We thank you for your report.
Thank you.
When we return, we are talking gymnastics and big-time basketball. That's all next on the Sports News. Welcome back to the Sports News. I'm Jessa Jeremiah, and we're catching you up on high school gymnastics at Madison Memorial. Here to talk about just that is Andrea Gottlieb and Lauren Michaels. Madison Memorial Gymnastics captains. How are you guys doing today?
Good. We're doing well.
So glad to see you today, and we're going to talk about some of your accomplishments and some things that look ahead. Coming off of back-to-back state appearances, what are the expectations for your team going through this season?
We're really hoping to make it for the third year in a row.
We've all been throwing a lot of big tricks, and we're excited to perform them this year at sectionals.
Very exciting. Well, all kinds of fun in gymnastics, we know, and you're hosting a big invite coming up on January 30th at Memorial. So talk a little bit about what fans at home, viewers, might expect if they come out and watch that.
There's going to be 16 teams coming, and there's a few from Milwaukee.
FMAL is a big team that will be there. They were state runners-up last year, so we're really excited to compete against them.
And for the two of you, you're both captains. Are you all around? And if so, what's your favorite event? Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm not normally all around because beam's not my event, but my favorite is bars.
Okay.
I mostly compete vault and floor. My favorite is vault.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm sure you guys have a very well-rounded team, and you've always got to have your specialty. So for each of you, what do you think is the best part of participating in high school gymnastics?
Probably the cheering for each other. It's like a team sport instead of like individual.
Yeah, high school gymnastics has a much greater emphasis on being a team than club does, so it's really fun to be supporting each other.
Yeah, I think that's great. The team mentality is important. What are some things that we should look for in the postseason in terms of big competitions? Who do you see making it to state this year?
Well, in conference, we see Sun Prairie really taking the lead. They've really stepped it up this year.
And at sectionals, we're kind of hoping it'll be like us and Middleton, but all the teams are pretty close, so it's going to be
Well, we look
fun.
forward to seeing what the season has in store. Let's talk a little bit before we go about some things besides competing that you enjoy about being on a high school team.
I like becoming close with everyone and just being a family.
Yeah, we really are one big family. It's really fun to be able to go to spaghetti dinners before meets and team lunches and really hang out outside of just gymnastics.
Yeah, it sounds like this is a very close-knit team. The team is important, and just making sure you foster those relationships outside of the gym is a big deal for those teams. So great job to you ladies. I'm sure you're very proud of your team, and we're so glad to see you. This is Andrea Gottlieb and Lauren Michaels, Madison Memorial Gymnastics captains. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
We're going now to an interview on big-time basketball. Justin Riley caught up with Rich Reynolds and Roy Boone to give us the inside scoop.
And welcome back to the Sports News. I'm Justin Riley filling in for Jessa Jeremiah. High school basketball is heating up, and you can catch the best games right here on CW57 Sports starting January 30th. Here to talk more about that is Rich Reynolds and former Badger basketball player Roy Boone. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Good to have you with us today. Roy, I want to start with you. For those folks who don't know much about your background, give us a little bit of a background of your history in basketball.
Okay, well, I started off my high school career at Madison East, which is the Pergolders. I was able to have a good season, then transferred to junior college and got my grades together and went on and played for the Wisconsin Badgers.
Excellent, excellent. And Rich, I'm going to turn to you because you're going to be joining us. You joined us for football this year, and you'll be joining us again for basketball. Give viewers a little bit of a background of where you come from.
Yeah, a lot of people in Madison kind of know me as, and I get it a lot, the wiener guy. I do public address for the Madison Mallards. I do public address for the Madison Capitals. I fill in for the UW as well on certain events. I'm on the radio at 1670, which is the Zone, so sports talk radio, and you can catch me on Thursdays and Fridays. And then I'm here on CW57 and really looking forward to calling some games with Roy.
And as you guys know, we've got a really great game schedule this year for high school basketball. Rich, we start with you. What games stand out to you this season?
I think coming right out of the chute, the first game that we do is Parker and Craig, and whenever they go at it, I mean, that's a really big rivalry. We covered that game in football. I mean, it gets the whole town of Janesville together, so I like to see that. And then the second game, too, we got Evansville and Edgerton, also one of those rivals that's just a hotbed, and everybody down there knows that those games are special. So we're definitely looking forward to coming right out of the chute hot with two big rivalries.
Roy, what about you? What are your what games stand out to you?
Of course, that Madison East La Follette game.
Of course.
it's always been a rival. It's been a rival since I was playing, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. You got some good players over there at La Follette with Anthony West, a sophomore guard over there who's playing tremendous, and then you got Dane over at Madison East, who I think is probably one of the best guards in the Big 8.
Absolutely. And Rich, tell us when viewers can catch these games on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. We make it kind of easy so you can catch it twice, either on Saturday nights starting at 6 o'clock or Sundays at 3:30. And so that'll all start, a week now or less where we're coming into. So
January 30th is the start date.
Yeah, really excited about that. And, lots of ways to catch us and even set your DVRs. So it's going to be good stuff.
Absolutely, and you can go to the game and then watch it on TV later because it's all taped. So it's a good thing to have on our side. So Roy Boone and Rich Reynolds, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks to Rich Reynolds and Roy Boone for your report. When we come back, we're going to a very special interview with Dorothy Hamill. That's next on the Sports News.
This celebrity interview is brought to you by On Ice Promotions.
Welcome back to the Sports News. CW57 Sports caught up with Dorothy Hamill in a very special interview earlier this week. Here's that report.
Olympic gold medal winning skater Dorothy Hamill marks several milestones this year. It's the 40th anniversary of her winning performance at the 1976 Winter Olympics. She also turned 60 this year and celebrates 8 years of being cancer-free. That is great. Dorothy, looking back, what was it like for you winning gold, and how has the skating world changed since then?
Oh, it was wonderful to win the gold medal back in the 70s. Life was very simple, and figure skating was very simple, and it was just an incredible experience. And seeing the skaters today, they're so different. They're doing all these triples and spins with their feet behind their head, and I just can't even imagine what the training is like. If I think I'm hurting from all the falls I took, I can't imagine the falls they take nowadays. But I feel very lucky that I was in the era that I was.
Yeah, it seems like nowadays, especially in the skating world, it's a power game, isn't it?
It's power. We had all those compulsory figures that were very time consuming. And until you got to a certain level, they were really boring to do. Watching, they were never interesting. So now they don't have to do those, so they have lots of time to work on all those blur spins and jumps and combinations and footwork, and that's a whole different game.
Absolutely. It's great to hear that you're cancer-free. Tell us a little bit about your breast cancer journey.
So I was diagnosed 8 years ago, and I have the most common kind of cancer, which is hormone receptor positive. And I had surgery, and I had radiation, no chemotherapy, thank goodness, and then on the anti-estrogen medicines. And so when I was diagnosed, it was 5 years. That would be the recommendation, to stay on those medicines. My body does not really tolerate them very well. And so when I went in for my checkup last July or June, my doctor said, we recommend you staying on these for another 5 years. And I thought, oh gosh, I eked by and was able to do the 5 years. I'm not so sure the quality of life is going to be all that great for the next 5 years. So around that time, I discovered that there's a test that's very new, didn't require any other surgery, but they could take the tissue from the tumor I had, and it would determine whether me staying on those medicines for an additional 5 years would benefit or make the risk of my cancer returning less. And as it turned out, it really wasn't going to benefit me to stay on those medicines, so I was able to come off of them. So we started a campaign called BeWiserAboutBreastCancer.org, and it's a place where people, women, doctors can go to find out about this test that's very easy to order, to help them determine, to educate themselves, to find out more about this potential, the change in treatment. But it's education, and it's empowering women to be more proactive and have more input on what their treatment. They can discuss it with their doctor, because the treatment for me isn't necessarily the same as the treatment for someone else. So that's why we encourage people to go to the bewiseroboutbreastcancer.org and learn about this test.
And the empowerment, of course, very important. Also, there's been a lot of advancements, I think, in the treatment of breast cancer over the last few decades. What can women do to make sure that they're on the plan that's right for them?
Well, that's it. It's all about the treatment. And even though I have the hormone receptor positive cancer, breast cancer, others that have that may not have the same treatment I do. It depends on the size of your tumor and, you know, how far it may have gone into your lymph nodes. And so that's part of what, you know, this test can help. And Dr. Lauer here probably has more sort of detail of what women can do other than, you know, self-exam and the usual things that we hear about.
Well, you're absolutely right. Breast cancer treatment today is very complex and not one size fits all. So it's important that women and families and caregivers realize that there are lots of options out there. And we know today that one of the ways to better tailor treatment is with a new strategy called gene profiling, where, as Dorothy mentioned, we take a piece of tissue, analyze it more carefully for its genetic traits or how we think it'll behave. And this analysis can often help us answer questions like how likely is it that the early stage cancer will come back between years 5 and 10, and also how likely that a patient might benefit from taking 10 years of a hormone therapy versus stopping at 5. We do not want to undertreat patients. Hormone therapy is life-saving, but at the same time we don't want to overtreat because these pills have all kinds of side effects. And if we can avoid younger premenopausal women going into early menopause and not being able to have children, that's something we would like to do. At the same time, we want to save her life. Likewise, in postmenopausal women, avoiding some of the fatigue and musculoskeletal aches and pains and issues can be very, very helpful. So it's a balance. We want to make sure that we have information upon which women can make more informed decisions about the next best steps. And that's a partnership, and that's really what our campaign is about. It's that partnership or that empowerment between patients and their health caregivers.
Absolutely. Doctor, thank you. And Dorothy Hamill, thank you as well. I know it was great for me to talk to a legend, so we really appreciate your time. And
Thank
yeah,
you. Thanks for taking the time.
You bet. Congratulations on
Thank you.
being 8 years cancer-free.
Thanks so much to Rich and to Dorothy Hamill for a very special report. We're going to be back with more sports news after the break.
This celebrity interview is brought to you by On Ice Promotions.
I'd like to thank the many guests for your sports news report, and a very special thank you to the Red Zone Sports Bar in downtown Madison for sports, music, and the best pub grub in town. Visit the Red Zone. That's all for the sports news. I'm Jessa Jeremiah. Please join us next time.